We are now officially live. Thank you. I accidentally went live about 5 minutes ago, and then you saw me making weird faces and moving around my tabs. But this is our weekly midweek check-in with my fabulous democracyish co-host Danielle Moody, and of course, my Samsung has decided to glitch, so it says that we're live, but I can't see any viewers, and I have no idea how many people have joined us. But hopefully, Danielle, yours is working.
Mine is working. We are live. Joan just said, hello, my heroes.
Oh, that's so kind. Folks, we're doing, gosh, it's a midweek check-in, the news of the week, but honestly it should be the news of the hour. And I want to start off with these two pieces of breaking news that just came out in the last 10 minutes. Actually less than that then. First off, I'll start with this piece of breaking news that is in the Washington Post that
Mhm.
Kamala Harris, everyone was expecting her to make a bid for California governor. She has shut that door, Danielle, which means she has opened the door officially for a 2028 presidential run. Your take.
Mm, okay. So I have several. So one, you're breaking the news to me right now. That happened. One, I did not think that she should run for governor. Frankly, I thought that it was a step down, even though we know that California's budget rivals most, small nations. Um, Here's the thing. If she's going to run with the same focus group minded centrist bullshit, then please keep it.
Yep.
Please keep it. I think that she was closer than any of us want to truly understand to becoming president of the United States. We have to understand that she was given 107 days to run a campaign
Right.
against Donald Trump that never stopped running. We have to understand that what she was able to do in that short span of time, inject just a bit of hope in the dreariness that we were all feeling. She gave us Tim Walz, right? Who at the time the world did not know, who was a perfect model of a white cis hetero man and like proper masculinity and not
Yep.
toxic masculinity. But what happens with Democrats is what happens all of the time. They get sucked in by the consulting class. They get sucked in by inside the Beltway thinking. They decide to not go with their gut and what they know with what they're hearing on the ground and instead go with what the pollsters and the people are telling them that they should do. And it sabotaged her.
Yep.
So, and I don't want to say like, I mean, there were so many things. She didn't have an Elon Musk that was infusing $280 million into her campaign. She didn't have, these red state governors that were doing God knows what with their voting machines and what have you. If she is going to run with herself, with a progressive message, with thoughtfulness, if she's going to shut out the establishment, if she's going to actually stand up for Gaza, if she's going to stand up for oppressed people around the globe, if she's going to be able to have a thoughtful analysis and critique on the Biden administration while also addressing where she sees that the country needs to go, and she's going to do that from a real place and not a curated place, then I say, why the fuck not? If Donald Trump gets to run multiple times and win, if Hillary Clinton gets to run multiple times and lose, why should Kamala Harris go away? But if you're going to come back, then you better come correct. You better come legit. You better come with a lens that you did not have before because you were given, right, the talking points and how you should be. But that's not the place that we're in anymore.
Nope.
The world is messy. It's a fucking disaster. I don't need you to make me smooth it over and put on a filter to it. I need you to talk directly to the people in a way that connects. So if that is how she is going to decide to come back to the national stage, then I'm I'm for it. Why not? Right? Why must the Black and Asian woman be told to sit down? Oh, you lost, so you got to go away when everyone else is given time over and over again to fail and fail up. So that's my thing. If you're going to run again, then run on your own merit. run legit, run progressive. But if that's not going to be it, if you're going to try and be this centrist bullshit, then please sit down.
No, that echoes my feeling as well. I think you're a little bit more generous and gracious than me. My initial instinct is you're going to lose. That being said, she's probably looked at the poll numbers and they see her right now at this moment. It's still a long time away that she's hovering near the top. I think that could be due to recency bias because people remembered that Kamala Harris barely lost by 1.4 points to a criminal vulgarian who was buddies with a pedophile. And as such, there's no real viable candidates that have thrown their hat in the ring, right? So from a political point of view, looking at the data right now, it's like, okay, it's a smart move. At the same time, looking at Kamala Harris's career, I'm from California, right? Seeing her rise, her ascension. I don't know, Danielle, if she has it to do that, what you just said. I don't think, because there's some Democrats, there's some politicians who are so wedded, if you will, to the older way, and I'm not using old as a pejorative, but the corporate way, the establishment way of thinking, of talking, their inner circle, their cabal of experts and influencers. I don't think they have it in them to, if you will, evolve
Mm-hmm.
and I don't think they're agile enough to talk, not just in vis-a-vis the content, which is most
Mm-hmm.
important, but even in the type of authenticity that is necessary to galvanize this new generation, which includes so many people of so many different ages who are done with the institutions, who are done with the okey doke, who are done with the establishment. They don't want restoration. They want reform. They want some
Mm-hmm.
radical language. I don't see Kamala Harris as being able to deliver that. What I see her lane, what she's probably thinking is, okay, I see that, there's the Chuck Schumers and there's like the Nancy Pelosi's, and then there's the Zoran Mamdanis and the AOCs who are so left. I'll be the safe center left sweet option, right? In the middle of those two. That's where I see the thinking. And that's where I see many of the same people who derailed her campaign because, folks, the first half of her campaign, and again, I'm glad Danielle brought those receipts. She was not given a wide open runway. She was given Joe Biden sabotaged her by not staying true to his original promise of being a
Yep.
one-term president. You and I, for democracy-ish, have been saying it for 3 years. You
Yep.
got a black Indian woman as your vice president. We said it. They said, why Democrats? Instead of, remember they buried her? All these leaks came
Watch.
out.
Every week we would say, "Has anybody seen Kamala Harris? Like, where's Kamala Harris? Why isn't she speaking out on the overturning of Dobbs? Where is she? Where is she? Why aren't we using the lawyer, right? The former attorney general to litigate the case against Donald Trump and put her out there, right? And give her winning issues, right?
Yep.
If Joe Biden had stayed true to saying that I'm the transitional candidate, I'm gonna take us from this unstable place. I'm gonna stabilize us. But once the patient is stable, guess what I'm doing? I'm saying it's time to go to rehab, and Kamala Harris is going to be your rehabilitator. That's what we're doing, and I'm going to put her in a position to win. Instead, they hit her.
Yep, and he says, "From my cold dead hands." So he really hindered her, and now from the information that we know, he told her, "No daylight, kid." But what we also know is, even though she was placed in impossible circumstances, and inflation, and the disinformation, and being a black woman, about halfway through her campaign, folks, if you realize the excitement in the first half of her campaign was because it was a very progressive type of economic populist message. The second half of the campaign, ever since the old guard corporate elitists came, it became a very neutered, centrist message
Yep.
that reached out to Republicans, more so their own base. There was no Palestinian speaker at the DNC. The bar was so low, folks, it was in hell. Even the uncommitted folks, everyone tries to blame the uncommitted folks. They all told people to vote for Democrat. They didn't say vote for Trump. They're saying, we're seeing a genocide happening in real time. We're trying to use our leverage with the little that we have to try to compel a change
Yep.
in policy. And the Democratic establishment said, go F yourself. And they didn't have a Palestinian speaker. They sent Bill Clinton to talk down to Michigan speakers, right? They went centrist. And Tim Walz, folks, who came out of the gate, the reason why he was chosen as VP was because he was just, he was
Regular, folksy
and
guy.
mocking them, calling them weird, and he
Weird.
mocked
And
them.
then what did we stop hearing, Waj? What did we stop hearing as soon as he became vice president? They said, stop using the term weird. The very thing that got him noticed, the very thing that had clips go viral. And it wasn't because he was just like, I don't even know how to describe it. They're
They're
just
weird.
weird.
And it resonated, Danielle. And remember the VP debate where he agreed with JD Vance and he was civil? And then Tim Walz, folks, if you think we're being too harsh, Tim Walz himself has said, yeah, I
I
made a
shouldn't have let them
mistake.
do it.
Yeah, they told me to tamper it down. And in hindsight, that's what got me there in the first place. I shouldn't have done it. So I don't have enough faith in these centrist, center-left establishment Democrats, even though I agree with you. She has every right to throw her hand in the ring. But even now, Danielle, Zoran Mamdani, polls came out. Folks, his numbers are going up. Now 50% of voters like him. This whole thing that Jews hate him, bullshit.
Nope.
Majority of Jewish voters support Mamdani. Majority of black voters support Mamdani. Majority of young voters support Mamdani. Majority of women support Mamdani. This Muslim versus Jew thing, bullshit. He's going to become the next mayor. And to this day, Schumer, Jeffries, Gillibrand, and so many others have not embraced him. So this is why, Danielle, I remain deeply skeptical that the older guard, and I'm not using that as a pejorative, but Kamala Harris unfortunately does represent the old guard. She tied herself completely to Biden, and now you're going to bring out that old news and say, hey, reformation with the losing candidate sucks for her. I think she should have ran for governor.
So
or
okay, so the funny thing is, so a lot of people in the chat, and I don't know if you can see the chat at all.
I
So I'm
can't see
going to tell you.
anything.
Okay, so in the chat, a lot of people, as we're talking, they're saying, Pete Buttigieg, Pete should run. Pete needs to throw his hat in the ring. Blah blah. I was having this conversation yesterday with a mutual friend of ours, Dr. Christina Greer, and
Yeah.
I said, you know what? Here's the thing about Pete Buttigieg, because both of us agree. Fantastic spokesperson for the Democratic Party. He is smart, he is sharp, all of these things. I just want to remind everybody in the chat, Pete Buttigieg is a gay man with a husband and biracial children. He is not going to be president of these United States.
Not in our lifetime.
Not in our lifetime. And here's what I want to say. I want to be wrong. I am a Black queer woman. I would like to be wrong. But I'm going to tell you right now that Pete Buttigieg, as a white gay man who is married with biracial twins, is not going to be president of the United States. Pete will be lucky because I think what he can get to, right, is potentially vice president.
Yeah,
I think that he could potentially become vice president of the United States. But in this fucking homophobic, racist, country, and here's the thing, and people said vice question mark. Here's the thing, folks. Nobody gives a fuck about the vice president. They only care because it was a Black and Asian woman that was a heartbeat away from the presidency. Because right now, JD Vance is on vacation every other day in a blue state. The fuck is JD Vance doing? What is his signature issue? What is he working on? What is he being guided to do? Nothing. He's a fucking puppet of Peter Thiel waiting for Kenkels to give out so that he can be put into the position of president and they can puppeteer his ass until the end of fascist days.
That's his job, Danielle.
That is what his job is. So my thought with regard to Pete Buttigieg, I like him. I like his husband, right? But the fact is that these United States are not going to elect a gay man who is married with biracial twins. And if they do, hand to God, fantastic. America will have jumped yet another hurdle. But do I think that this Trump America, is ready for that hurdle? We are underwater. We are suffocating in the sewer of Trumpism right now. So let us not have delusions of grandeur.
I'll also say, and this might be interesting, some people might disagree with that, Pete Buttigieg is too moderate and centrist. He has aligned himself with whiteness throughout his career. I know people might not like hearing that, but he has. He has aligned himself with whiteness, and he is the white good gay, right? Like the sober gay. And people of color, they like him, but they don't trust him enough to understand their plight, which is why initially if you all remember, folks, in 2020, Pete Buttigieg, right, in Iowa and these other white majority states, he was crushing it. As soon as it got to the South, what happened? Different story, folks. And so I agree. It's the same problem that I have with Kamala Harris. I think Pete Buttigieg has come from a much safer, more type of diplomatic, center left type of establishment training. Biden loved him. The establishment loves him. I don't think he has the requisite bona fides or bona fides, however you pronounce it, to speak with that type of fervor, that radical fervor, which is even not that radical, that a Mamdani or an AOC or a Bernie or even a Trump on the other side have. So in addition to what you said, because I agree with you folks, people might not like hearing it, I am telling you straight up, I can write the right-wing ads against Pete Buttigieg. I won't. In my head, they're already written. And you think it won't work? Oh, it'll work. It'll work like gangbusters. Oh, do you know in the White House, Lincoln's house, Thomas Jefferson's house, George Washington's house, there are two gay men having anal sex? Vote for Republican. And you might say, that's hilarious. No one's going to vote. Oh, yes, it will. Suburban voters, religious voters, people of color. I'm telling you. So I agree with you, Danielle. I don't think people are realizing, this country would rather have a rapist vulgarian than a competent Black Indian woman. And that was just 6 months ago. I think you need someone. The main through line is who is able to deliver on a new type of vision and an ideology that seeks not restoration but reformation, and is able to take on the oligarchy, old centers of power, and Israel. If someone is able to talk bluntly about these issues, they will galvanize. And speaking about Israel, folks, we just found out officially this week that 60,000 Palestinians have been killed. That number is most likely much higher because Lancet, the medical journal, said it's probably 40% higher. Israeli military went against the Israeli government and said, actually, the Israeli government claim that Hamas is stealing international aid. That's not true. We haven't seen it. Palestinians are under stage 5 starvation. And now we're seeing for the first time ever, you saw Angus King on Monday, I think it was after our show, Danielle, Angus King, independent senator from Maine, with the most blunt statement I've seen from any senator saying, I'm done. I am for no aid to Israel. Starving children is enough and enough is enough. You saw a whole bunch of Democrats, and this is wild. Marjorie Taylor Greene
fucking Green
join the Democrats in saying no aid to Israel. You're seeing all the poll numbers where it's been a radical shift, something Danielle and I never thought we'd see in our lifetime. I've said this before on our show. The only time I've seen such a radical shift is on marriage equality. Obama term 1, Obama term 2. This is within 2 years, folks. Radical shift, not just here, but internationally. And with all of that, Danielle, connecting to the last conversation, I don't know if you saw this. This was the centrist Elisa Slotkin, who was given the role by the Democrats to respond to Donald Trump's State of the Bullshit Union, whatever that was, who praised Ronald Reagan, who said we need to go against the woke and the weak. Did you see the interview she had with Crystal Ball on Breaking Points yesterday that went viral?
No.
I have no idea why Elisa Slotkin or her staffer agreed to it, but Crystal tore her up for 30 minutes. Must-watch television. I texted Crystal. I'm like, why, Crystal? Why'd she say yes? Crystal says, I have no idea. In the show, Crystal says, respectfully, Senator, why did you come on this show? And then she grills her on Israel. And even then, Elisa Slotkin, to her credit, says, well, I have to get out of the bubble and meet other people. And then Crystal just does not relent on Israel and on Gaza. And then the interview then is cut short. So even now, after everything I just said, after all the poll numbers have come out, after you've seen this be a losing issue, after you've seen that the number one reason why people stayed at home, according to YouGov, was Israel-Gaza, the fact that we said Kamala Harris listened to the worst consultants, no daylight with Biden, who's an ideological Zionist, didn't even have a Palestinian, and you have Zoran Mamdani, Danielle, who literally, not in spite of, but because of a stance on Palestine, now has 50% of the vote and young Jews. Your take on the Democrats and on this issue, the genocide that we're seeing in Gaza.
Let me tell you something about Elisa Slotkin. First of all, when they posted the numbers of people who take money from AIPAC, She is one of them. The establishment Democrats take millions of dollars from AIPAC. And it has taken, first of all, I don't believe the 60,000 number. I believe it's more like hundreds of thousands of Palestinians that have been killed.
Lancet, the medical journal, says that that's an undercount, and most likely the amount that we'll find out is 40% higher. That's 40% Lancet.
40% higher. My take right now is that this is now the collective awakening that unfortunately took the most grotesque genocide, depravity, starvation. It took seeing terrorized mothers holding skeletal babies on your screen, on TV, to get legacy media, to get some Democrats to be like, oh my God, we must do something here. Oh, you
That's
mean
right.
do something like not send $3 billion a year to Israel? You mean do something like Nikki Haley signing bombs? Do you remember that? When
I
Nikki
do.
Haley was signing fucking bombs? And so on this issue, there has been no daylight between Republicans and Democrats. They have been one and the same in the pocket for this quote unquote nation that says we're a democracy of the Middle East, and parroted that for decades. Parroted that. How are you a democracy and you have apartheid? How are you a democracy and you have two separate roads for Palestinians and for Israelis? How are you a democracy and you have one group of people under military law and the next group of people under civilian law? How are you a democracy when I can go into your home and say, you know what, this looks nice here, get the fuck out?
That's right.
Right? And you have no recourse. Or if I go into your home and I decide, you know what, get out of here, and I take a sledgehammer to it, and then I tell you that you can't even go to your neighbor's house. How the fuck is that a democracy? It is not. So for people think that this happened 2 years ago, no, it's been going on for decades upon decades upon decades. And both parties have been sustaining apartheid.
Yep.
Right? So Alyssa Slotkin, Hakeem Jeffries, Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, fucking Gillibrand, the rest of them, they all take money. They all take that money and wash their conscience with it and tell themselves that all is well, all is good, don't worry about it. And now people who they have told, oh, you don't understand, this issue is complex. There is nothing complex about starvation. You either give people access to food or you don't. You either give people access to medicine or you don't. This is not a complex issue. You either see with your seeing eyes and your hearing ears or you do not. I don't need to have a foreign affairs degree. I don't need to have a doctorate. I don't need to be a political analyst to understand that starvation is a weapon of genocide, right? It is not an act of safety. So miss me with the bullshit on both sides. So she goes on there and she gets obliterated. Good for Crystal Ball. Good for Crystal Ball. Because there should be no Democrat anywhere. Every Democrat who has ever taken money from AIPAC should give that money back. Anybody that has stood around and has said nothing, right, should open up their fucking mouths right now and be begging for an apology, be begging people for forgiveness, begging for forgiveness for their ignorance, for their hatred, for their dehumanization, for their complicity in this genocide. So there should be no fucking body. If we have elections in midterms, if we have elections in 2028, there should be not a fucking Democrat that is running that I can run the receipts on where you were. Because I'm going to ask, where were you? Where were you when hundreds of thousands of children where were you when they were bombing the hospitals? Where were you when they were bombing the universities? Where were you when they turned off the water? Where were you when they turned off the internet and the electricity? Where were you when they were killing doctors and nurses? Where were you when the 200 plus journalists were killed? That's the questions that we need to be asking. Not because, oh, it's just Gaza. Because if you could allow that to happen there, you will allow it to happen anywhere. That's the point. Gaza's the mirror. Look in it. And those that choose not to, you don't deserve to run for anything. You don't deserve to run for dog catcher. You don't deserve to run for fucking, president of a high school. You deserve to sit the fuck down.
Amen. Danielle preaches. I can only say amen. Absolutely. And where they were while children were starving to death, well, one of the Democratic senators, Jackie Rosen, was in a bipartisan photo with war criminal Prime Minister Netanyahu, who visited for the third time this year. And in that photo, folks, which I have talked about because I have to talk about it because, again, it's all connected. You're telling me that Elisa Slotkin and even Kamala Harris and others are the future of the Democratic Party, which has its lowest favorability rating since 1994, and they're unwilling to change their tune. They're unwilling to let go of corporate money. They're unwilling to disassociate from AIPAC. Then I say you have no chance in hell. This is now a major red line issue for voters, not just Democratic voters, but increasingly with Republican voters. Tucker Carlson, right? Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is the present and future of the GOP, right? Whether you like it or not, she represents that MAGA base that once the Epstein files released, she's joining these Democrats and saying, all right, no aid until Israel stops its starvation. And I would add, stops the occupation and the expansion of settlements. This has been happening before October 7th. But one of these Democratic senators, you know where they were? Taking a photo with Benjamin Netanyahu, Jackie Rosen of Nevada, and she was joined by Chris Coons, and she was joined by Adam Schiff and Cory Booker, which was also joined by a few others, Klobuchar and a few others. And speaking about Jackie Rosen, and speaking about why I remain very skeptical of these establishment Democrats who are trying to ingratiate themselves by going on Crystal Ball show. Like, why? Whatever staffer proposed it, that staffer is fired. Alyssa Slotkin, like she literally, Crystal's like, why are you here? Like, this is like, why? Like, okay, now that you're here, let me destroy you. And even then, if you're trying to reposition yourself, you could tell that Alyssa Slotkin was just no daylight on this, right? Because they can't let go of the nut. Well, it comes back to bite us in the ass, folks, because I always try to keep receipts. So, Danielle, we haven't talked about this. Bring in one of the major supervillains, Emile Beauvais, completely unqualified, a man whom, judges, people, his former colleagues, whistleblowers have come out, right? Like hundreds of people have come out. Hundreds of people have come out and said, please do not appoint this freaking hack as a lifetime judge. Of course, 50 Republicans appoint Emile Beauvais, who wants to give Donald Trump a green light to essentially become a dictator, for a lifetime appointment to the Third Circuit Court, a lifetime appointment to Donald Trump's former personal attorney. Now, what people forget, Danielle, and I want to bring this up, I'm going to talk about it at 4 p.m. with a journalist who also brought the receipts, Jay Willis. I was keeping track of this. Do you know who should be in that position, Danielle? Judge Adil Manji. Judge Adil Manji, celebrated Muslim American judge who was nominated by President Biden, who also got the support of many civil rights groups. Jewish American groups said he's kosher, he's great. Why is Justice Manji not in that seat, and why is it Emile Beauvais? Well, because bad faith, racist smearing of Judge Adil Manji by Tom Cotton and others, and that bad faith racist smearing of him because he's a Muslim, then influenced who? 3 Democratic senators. Manchin was one, and the 2 Nevada senators, Jackie Rosen, who just took a photo with Benjamin Netanyahu, and Cortez Mastos. And at the last second, those 3 decided to tank the nomination of Adil Manji. It was left vacant, and now it is filled by Emile Beauvais. Danielle, your take.
I mean, this is where I say, like, we, the people, you have responsibility not just every 2 years, not just every 4 years, not just every 6 years, but every year to hold these representatives accountable. The fact that you would have in this day and age even one Democrat that would vote alongside with Republicans, these cult members, these white nationalists, these Islamophobes, these homophobes, these transphobes, the fact that you could rationalize to yourself to vote alongside these people is sickening to me. But there are too many Democrats. There are too many, Watch, that we have brought up on our show that make this step all the time. And so I'm saying to folks and people like, I feel powerless. I feel this, that, and the other thing. You are not. People don't try and steal your vote otherwise, right? People don't try and intimidate you with domestic terrorism otherwise if you had no power and you had no voice, right? The intimidation is real. So, Beauvais, lifetime appointment, I won't be around for America's version of the Nuremberg trials. I'm certain of that. But I also believe, and maybe this is just wishful thinking, Waj, that we will have them. We just may not see them. But these people, Beauvais and others, they will be there. They will be there.
And they're going to be the villains of our children's history books. And there's another piece of breaking news about votes that will be stolen, and we predicted it. We're going to talk about what Texas is doing in broad daylight. Breaking news just came out that they unveiled their plan to redistrict, gerrymander, steal 5 House Senate seats, which will give them majority. But before we get into that, real quick, it goes back to the through line that they refuse to change or evolve or adapt. And I heard some people say, well, Lisa Slotkin, she's from Michigan, and Michigan is like purple, and, Michigan went for Trump, and I want to remind people, Andy Beshear is the Democratic governor of what state, folks? Kentucky. Did not throw women, Roe, or LGBTQ people under the bus. Tim Walz, very progressive governor of Minnesota. The Democrats did not have a huge the majority. Nope. Very slim. Stood by his guns, right? Figurative and literal. You have people who, with very, very narrow majorities, are fighting and are using their privileged positions to fight for everyone, including undocumented immigrants, legal immigrants, women, LGBTQ communities. This excuse that Lisa Slotkin, who was, CIA, right? Yeah, CIA. And she said when they asked her repeatedly to talk about Zoran Mamdani, she says, I don't know. I just live in Michigan. Let them do what they want to do. I don't follow. I'm like, weren't you a CIA officer? Maybe it's your job to follow. I don't know, national news, right? It just pathetic. So I see this, and I see this type of a leadership that the Democratic Party is promoting, the Slotkins, and right, even Kamala Harris. Let's see what version comes out, right? And the Schumers and Hakeem Jeffries and even the Cory Bookers. Yes, Cory Booker gives great speeches, but look at how he votes. He was in that photo as well with Benjamin Netanyahu, right? He was like, where's Waldo? He's trying to escape. But he was in that photo, and he has taken money from AIPAC for forever. What people want are fighters. Why? Oh, because as Danielle and I predicted, and we're not geniuses, just because we take Trump literally and seriously, and we know he's a criminal, and we know we're dealing with a right-wing authoritarian force that will stay in power by any means necessary. And we said before an attempt at a martial law, what they will try to do is electoral reform. Remember that? We said it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is the reform. Texas Republicans unveiled gerrymandered House map trying to please Trump. The proposed map, just open, naked, shameless, would give Republicans, would give Republicans, folks, I'm sorry, I'm trying to charge my phone. The proposed map would give Republicans a chance to gain 5 U.S. House seats, including in Houston, Dallas, and along the U.S.-Mexican border. They're straight up trying to steal just enough seats to give them the majority in the House, because they realize, based on Donald Trump's dwindling numbers and the disastrous BBB bill, that they will most likely lose the House. And it's very possible they might even lose the Senate, with Roy Cooper announcing that he's running in North Carolina. Danielle, your take.
Well, my take is this. Gavin Newsom, who I can't stand, has said his way to combat this is that he'll redistrict California.
I
And
love it.
give California not 5, but 7 new seats, right?
Do it.
Another Democratic governor, and I can't remember, and maybe somebody in the chat will tell me. Was it?
Pritzker. Illinois' Pritzker.
Pritzker said he would do the same. And I'm saying calling all Democratic governors of
Absolutely.
major states. If you cannot tell me right now that you want to be the quote unquote fucking adult in the room when we are living in an authoritarian regime. You cannot tell me that you are going to sit back, as Hochul said in New York, oh, we're not going to do anything about redistricting right now. Go fuck yourself, right? Like, in all honesty, if you are not reading, right, the blood that is on the walls right now, then you can't see and you shouldn't be in power, because they are coming for every goddamn thing, which means that you have to use whatever power, whatever privilege, whatever space, whatever place that you have, and you got to go balls to the fucking wall.
That's
And
right.
make sure that if we have these midterm elections, that they don't win. Because on the merits alone, I've said this forever, on the merits alone, they cannot win.
Nope.
Because what is going to coincide with midterm elections, if we have them, is going to be the impact of not only the tariffs, but 17 plus million people being kicked off of Medicaid. It is going to come with the gutting of the education system. It's going to come with the rollback of EPA. It's going to come with more devastating storms that
Yep.
won't receive FEMA funding because they gut that. All of these things are coming at once. And there is no way for them to win without outright cheating. And they know that they have a MAGA Supreme Court, that all of these cases will make their way up. And that Roberts Court will say, roll out the fucking red carpet. Here you go. Right? So if you're a Democrat and you're a governor right now and you're not figuring out with a Sharpie right now how to match what it is that they not even match, but exceed what it is that they're doing, I don't want gerrymandering. Gerrymandering shouldn't be a part of our politics, and neither should fucking money. Both of those things gone, Republicans would never see power again. But the fact of the matter is, you gotta play the cards that you are dealt. And we are dealt a shitty fucking hand right now. So you better do something other than tell me, I fold.
I want you to flex. I want you to come out today and say, "Oh, Texas is cheating and gerrymandering. If that's legal, Supreme Court, you're allowing it. Okay, Supreme Court, I'm gerrymandering. I want every blue governor to come out and double dare, nay, triple dare this corrupt Supreme Court to rubber stamp gerrymandering. Because if Texas can do it, what I'm going to say is I'm going to do it. And then the Supreme Court, which is filled with right-wing hacks, folks, they are right-wing hacks. They are operatives groomed for the last, since they became college students by the Federalist Society. That's what it's a pipeline. It's a grooming pipeline. The Federalist Society identifies right-wing talent who can eventually, get to the Supreme Court, and then like a pipeline, they put them in. They put them in there. These are right-wing hacks in black robes, cosplaying as Supreme Court judges. So what I would say, all right, Supreme Court hacks, I would call them out, Danielle. See,
Mm-hmm.
this is me. I would think if Gavin Newsom or anyone calls out the Supreme Court, their popularity will go up because Supreme Court as an institution, Congress as an institution, media as an institution, I would double dare the Supreme Court. I would literally look at the camera and say, Supreme Court, I dare you to stop me. Are you okay with Texas gerrymandering? Okay. They
Because
gave you
if you're
5
okay
people.
with because the cases are going to come up, and if you're going to be okay with Texas, then what's the difference in California? What's the difference in any of these other places? Right? So you're going to have to pick a side. Either gerrymandering is okay, right, for everybody, or it's not okay, right? Because they're not going to be able to say, well, what Texas is doing. No, no, we're modeling the same shit.
No, they will. See, this is where I disagree. Supreme Court will. Alito and Thomas and Roberts will find a way to play doh and say, well, what Texas did is okay, but the way you did it is wrong. Case in point, look at Biden. They restrained his executive power when it came to trying to give student loan relief. But then Trump, oh, lo and behold, rubber stamping all of his emergency orders through the special docket that allows him to bypass Congress to dismantle the Department of Education, right? When Biden tried to do it to give a student loan relief, no, no, no. When Donald Trump does it, it's okay. He can do it temporarily, and let's see, let it play out in the court. So I think that's what's going to happen. This is why Yeah. Well, this is why you and I will probably never be elected or ever get corporate money. But you know what? If I ran with that, I think I would probably get elected. I would call out the Supreme Court looking right at the camera. I say, I double dare you to do it. Let's do it. And then when the Supreme Court does it and does a clear double standard, then I would go out and say, I'm going to do it anyway. Stop me, Supreme Court.
Yeah.
I'm California. What you
Here's
going to do?
the
You're
thing.
corrupt as that.
I was going to say the Supreme Court is like when the Supreme Court is absolutely corrupt, has trashed the Constitution of these United States, has made themselves illegitimate and a joke. Like, I'm not going to follow. What are you going to do?
What you
I'm
going to do
not
to
going
me?
to follow it. What are you going to do? Right? You're not following the rule of law. So why the fuck am I going to follow the rule of law? I'm good. And what I say with regard to what I'm saying with regard to California, copy their language. Use their absolute language and see what happens. Right? Like, oh, this is how they wrote it. This is how we'll write it. This is what they said. This is how we'll say it.
The last story I want to talk about. I don't know if you followed it, Danielle. American Eagle jeans. Have you followed this? This
No.
story about American. Oh, you haven't. Okay.
I
American
love when
Eagle
you
jeans.
break news for me.
Yeah. So American Eagle Jeans a couple of days ago announced that their brand ambassador would be Sydney Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney, a blonde white woman, very has
Hmm.
asset that she shows off. Really good actress also. And the ad campaign, I didn't think much of it because I didn't follow it. I'm like, all right, Sydney Sweeney showing off her body to sell jeans. What's new, right? Good for her, good for American Eagle. But the campaign is Sydney Sweeney has great genes, Geans. But also the ad campaign very deliberately plays on Sydney Sweeney has great Genes. And the ad campaign, like, yes, exactly. And during a Zoom call with Sydney, American Eagle said, we asked the question, how far do you want to push it? And Sweeney's response was immediate and exactly what the brand was hoping for. Without hesitation, she smirked and said, let's push it. I'm game. Our response, challenge accepted. And the reason why this is so, controversial is because it's a very wink, wink a play on the word genes and genes. Right? Look at my genes. It's passed on. You can also have good genes. And Doja Cat and a lot of black women in particular, the last 2 days have taken to social media like, whoa. So you're saying this blonde white woman has
Hmm.
great genes. And in this moment where eugenics has gone mainstream, you
Hmm.
decide to go all in with this ad campaign linking great genes to a blonde white woman. Other people are saying, "Oh, you're taking it too far." Um, but Doja Cat came in and just like out of nowhere on TikTok, just like mocked Sydney Sweeney. Your take on the this story, which I'm breaking to you, and it makes me happy that I'm breaking
But
it to you.
number one, I can't love Doja Cat more. Not only has Doja Cat been like bold on Gaza and genocide, not only is she black and queer, and a superstar and gorgeous and all of these things, and using her platform I agree with her 3,000%. Like, oh, like here's the thing.
Can I give you the
Please,
exact quote? Let me give you the exact quote
yeah.
with the ad. Because I saw it without the music on Twitter one time. I'm like, all right, Sydney Sweeney showing off her ass and her boobs to sell jeans, whatever, good for her. This is what she says, quote, genes are passed down from parents to offspring, often determining traits like hair color, personality, even eye color, Sweeney says, before the camera pans up to her blue eyes. My genes are blue. And furthermore, it says Sydney Sweeney has great genes, and genes is crossed, Genes is crossed and replaced with Geans. Sorry, continue.
Look, I, you know what? You're not going to gaslight me into saying that American Eagle doesn't know what the fuck they're doing. You're not going to gaslight me into saying, oh my God, you're taking it too far when we know what blonde hair and blue eyes symbolizes in this world, right? We're not going to pretend that this was not the calling card of Aryan Nation. We're not going to pretend that this was not the calling card of the Holocaust, right? To do away with and create this Aryan Nation with blonde hair and blue eyes. And now you want to play a word play. And then when people call it out because you think that most people are fucking stupid, and when they're not stupid and they respond to your fucking bullshit and they call it out, then you want to be like, oh, that's not what we meant. Bitch, let me tell you something. American Eagle, I don't know anybody that has those jeans. I don't know how long they've tried to revive the J.C. Penney of jeans, but like, I ain't buying them, right? So I would say boycott it, but like in this moment of desperation, I doubt that they're going to see anything. Maybe I guess MAGA will buy it,
They will.
right? Like maybe.
MAGA, and contrarians and centrists and anti-woke and anti-PC culture folks have jumped on this.
So you know what? Let that be the gene of the oppression of the oppressor. Because I will tell you this: you know what doesn't move culture? Blonde hair and blue eyes. Never has, never fucking will. So
Black
with
people
God.
move culture. You know, Jay-Z said it. Hip hop moves culture. It's true when it comes to language, style, and fashion. And not just black folks, but there's black folks, brown folks, Asian folks, biracial folks, right? The way they could have gone away with it, Danielle, and what I would have done if I was on American Eagle's, I don't know, marketing team, but I wouldn't have been on because we're anti-DEI. But this is why you need DEI. I say, okay, run the same campaign, same talking points, same content, same words. In addition to Sydney Sweeney, have a black model actress
Yep.
and an Asian model actress, like have three women. And that way, first of all, no one accuses you of just promoting blonde white women. But then
Mm-hmm.
you say, oh, cool, genes, genes. We get it. These are really good looking women, but they have good genes, and you could also have good genes. There's an Asian woman, a black woman, and a white woman. And then you kind of get away with it. But they went all in on
Mm-hmm.
Sydney Sweeney and her blue eyes and her blonde hair. And yeah, I was talking to Jamel yesterday, Jamel Hill, about it. She goes, for at first, I didn't really pay attention to it. And then, maybe my threshold is different from other folks. But then I heard the discourse. And then I'm like, in this climate, really, really, you think it's smart to do it? And they didn't knew
Mm-hmm.
what they were doing. And Sydney
They
Sweeney
knew
is
what
also
they were doing. Like the whole thing around like being called out for your white nationalist bullshit is playing the innocent card, right? You want to be genocidal in your language, you want to be white supremacist in your politics, and then when you're called out on it, you want to be like, stop being so mean to me. What
stop
did
being so
I do? It's
PC.
cancel culture. Just stop it. I didn't mean it. I didn't understand what the word jeans meant. I thought it was being funny. Oh my God. Right? Miss me. Miss me with it.
Folks, that's the time we have for today because I'm a masochist and like an idiot. And this is my three hours straight, but it was fun. But now I'm going to do a fourth hour with Jay Willis, who did a deep dive on Emile Beauvais, his track record, why he's so bad. Uh, and specifically, I'm so glad he wrote this. How and why the Democrats decided to take Adil Manji. I think it should be bigger news. Like we should have Adil Manji, but because and it's connected to Gaza, folks. Adil Manji is a South Asian man, not Palestinian, a man who has an amazing track record, American, and they used Hamas and what was happening in Gaza against him. And three Democratic senators joined with the right wing in the bad faith, ugly smearing. And now we have Emile Beauvais. And these same people believe that they can lead us to a better America and defeat fascism. No, I have no faith in them. I'm so glad they're being exposed. It is exquisite. Danielle, I cannot see how many people are watching us. I can't see anything right now.
We have 954
Oh, that's
uh,
great.
people that tuned in. I love this
Thank
for us.
you. Almost 1,000 folks. Please, if you're not a subscriber, subscribe to Danielle Moody's Substack Damn Digest. If you have joined us, we're going to have this entire conversation up later today. And this is also the left hook. Again, for those who joined us late, we talked about Emile Beauvais. We talked about the breaking news that Kamala Harris most likely is making a run for 2028. We talked about Pete Buttigieg and others who might be good candidates, the message that they should use. We talked about Texas openly cheating and what Democrats should do when it comes to gerrymandering. And then we ended it with, of course, Sydney Sweeney and her great genes for American Eagle. Everything is free. We have no paywalls. Please, please, if you can, become a free subscriber. If you have a few bucks, Danielle likes her fancy coffee, and I have 800 children. And also, we will be back Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Time for Democracy-ish on Danielle Moody's fantastic YouTube channel. You should subscribe, get her to 30,000. Danielle, final word to you.
My final word is, my friend, I love when you break news for me because I like my reactions in real time. It's just like this world doesn't surprise me anymore. But it's like,
Go look
man.
at if you have a minute, just say
I'm going to look. I'm going to look.
Doja Cat, Sydney Sweeney, and look how Doja Cat made fun of Sydney. It's a gift to you. Then text me to see what you thought of it.
I
Doja Cat
will.
went hard in the paint. Folks, thank you all. We'll have this up in a bit. And stick around for a minute. I'm going to have Jay Willis on. So you really understand the depths of Emile Beauvais' depravity, why it's so dangerous that he has a lifetime appointment. And if you weren't pissed off enough at the Democrats, and if you don't listen to me and Danielle, just listen to how we got Emile Beauvais. You will be infuriated. See you in a minute. Thank you, Danielle.
Bye,
Take care,
my
everyone.
friend.
Bye.